I hit the jeweler, got some goals. I sold a little weed, but I could never sell my soul. And when I'm in LA, you find me out in Lil Toke. I'm a vocal with my ramen, I'ma need another bowl. Let's go.
See, there's this
Family Guy
online gaming competition.
How do you know about that?
Once a gamer, always a gamer.
Okay, I hear you loud and clear. What is this thing? Okay, so you know what Lord of the Rings is, right? If you haven't seen it, you kinda need to. These are my favorite films of all time and my favorite books of all time. And both the books and the films were able to single-handedly re-pioneer the entire fantasy genre. And I recommend you at least watch the theatrical versions before you watch this video. Not just because they're great movies, but because if you don't watch them, you won't understand what's going on in this movie. So go ahead, watch them real quick. They're on HBO Max. I do recommend the extended versions, they are better, but they are all extremely long either way, so it doesn't matter. Alright, got it? Good. Now to Rise of the Fellowship. What is this thing? You may be thinking, oh, it's a Lord of the Rings knockoff film. Well, yeah, but not really? I say not really because when you actually watch this movie, it's not actually really a ripoff at all. It's actually a Lord of the Rings fan film? Or actually, it's more of a tribute film than anything. Basically, it's a coming-of-age story about 4 gamers who compete in a Lord of the Rings online competition. But you wouldn't know that from the box. The box looks like a Lord of the Rings mockbuster. Down to the giant troll and the armies, and there are like knights too and shit. What the fuck? Look at the back too. Look at this. There's like a giant dragon there. Look at this description. A group of friends embark on an epic journey to find a new world they've only heard of, encountering dangerous obstacles and threats around every corner. During their quest, they lose one of their most precious possessions and must display depths of bravery and heroism that they never thought possible. With the aid of some unexpected allies along the way, the companions fiercely look for certainty that they can reach their destination. This all sounds like a fantasy film, but it's not a fantasy film. And believe it or not, Rise of the Fellowship isn't even the original title of this movie. This movie was actually originally an indie film called The Fellows Hip: Rise of the Gamers. So in other words, this is basically a Lord of the Rings fan project pretending to be a Lord of the Rings mockbuster, pretending to be Lord of the Rings. Now, to be fair, this false marketing is due to the distribution company, Phase 4 Films, a company that plagiarizes so hard even their logo is a ripoff. In fact, one of their films even led to a Disney lawsuit. You may remember them from JonTron's video on a talking cat.
Oh, look, this film was produced by the Fantastic Four. Oh, I'm really liking what they've done with it here.
In fact, the director of this film, Ron Newcomb, according to this video right here, didn't like how the company was literally scamming people. So he asked for the rights back and rebranded it back to The Fellows Hip: Rise of the Gamers.
We told them we knew our film best and it was not really meant to go that route because we knew our fans. So I asked for my film back. And now that I have it back, we are bringing you the film the way it was always meant to be.
Why this movie has such a weird history is beyond me. Now, is the movie itself as interesting? No, but also yes? Here, let me explain. So our film straight up opens with a Lord of the Rings parody, but this time with gaming.
The gaming world is changed.
When the MLG kick in.
I feel it in the bandwidth.
My game lagged out.
It's already gonna be one of those movies, isn't it?
The gaming world was a dark, terrible place.
And arguably still is.
A land full of griefers, exploiters, spawn campers.
We are literally like, what, a minute in? And the dialogue is already on par with a Dark Knight Ballad of the N-word.
Well, TBH, I'd rather go home and eat nacho cheese Doritos.
Gordon, I don't like how you go home and eat nacho cheese Doritos and watch Netflix. You've got to get your ass into gear and go sicko mode.
4 gamers. Not the fairest or the wisest. Noobs, in fact.
Noobs! This film used the word noobs in 2013!
Found themselves helplessly drawn into a quest of peril. With some great XP.
That is the Scott Pilgrim art style? Oh no, this movie's gonna rip off Scott Pilgrim too, isn't it?
Oh no. This is a nightmare.
So our film opens in yet another Lord of the Rings parody, where the people speak English and yet the subs are in Elvish.
I long to be in your arms. Randall.
Bitch, my name is Marcelo.
Randall.
The fuck? So it turns out it was all a dream, and our main character, Randall, is actually staring at a cheerleader. A character we see a grand total of twice in the whole movie.
Staring, man. Not good. Not good.
But then, uh-oh, the cliched bullies are here to stir up some trouble.
What are you staring at?
Nothing.
So now the jocks are bullying the nerds, and is that Travis Scott? Ayo, Travie, give me a Travis Scott meal from McDonald's, straight up sicko mode.
Oh yeah, and my Sprite.
So anyways, the nerd characters get bullied.
Now you're being bullied online by Leafy's here.
And what great characters they are. You have Randall, the one that stares at women, Squirrely, the weird one, and the fat kid. And they all get bullied until...
Hey, Carl!
The nerds then escape back to Randall's job at the game parlor, where they meet up with Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim.
Where you boys been?
Shut the hell up and eat a cinnamon roll.
We're then introduced to Randall's boss, who is the owner of Game Parlor.
I told you not to bring your strange little friends in here.
You guys are cringy.
What's wrong with us?
You nerds make the place look bad.
But you run a game store. That's your target demographic. And you're kicking them out? How are you not out of business?
Have you seen who's in here?
Acknowledging the problem doesn't fix the problem, Ron. So Randall gets back to work and is instructed to post something on the bulletin board. And it turns out it's a poster for a Lord of the Rings online competition.
A Lord of the Rings online gaming competition. Randall, be all that you can be.
Yeah, a loser.
So it turns out the school bully is a gamer too.
What are you doing here, Joe?
What?
He's not even a gamer.
Those gold rings, they're mine.
This is literally Ballad of the N-word dialogue. I can't take this seriously at all.
Make sure to donate to my Patreon. I create Vine compilations.
It's like too much excitement for you.
So long story short, shit gets kinda real.
Breaking your dear mother's heart.
Don't talk about my mom.
Yo, mom! Cut to an extremely jarring comic book transition. The gamers are now gaming and talking about the upcoming competition, as well as talking about Lord of the Rings.
I would love to go to the Holy Land.
Israel?
Nepal?
No, New Zealand.
New Zealand, that's where they made Lord of the Rings.
Just see where did you put the methy?
Shake the master's hand.
Shake the Master's hand? The Holy Land? Are these characters autistic? Nobody in their right mind calls Peter Jackson the Master.
I'd kiss Peter Jackson.
Heck, why not blow it on a trip? All hail to Mr. Jackson.
You sound very enthusiastic about that. Cut to class the next day. Everything is going normally until...
Dooley, front and center.
And it turns out, in his locker, he has a picture of the cheerleader girl. And he also has some smunk weed. So he is promptly kicked out of the school. This leads to his mom taking away his video games. Because video games cause drug addictions, apparently.
Play those games all the time. I don't want you holed up in your room on that thing, talking to God knows who.
God knows who? Do you not know your son's own high school friends? But can the Radagast Raiders win without Randall? And why do they need a text graphic in this scene? Apparently not, since the team loses.
Let me award you this mint condition Wolverine, Volume 1, Number 1.
Doesn't that go for like $600 online or something?
An extremely handsome signed black and white photograph of moi.
So we go from ultra rare comic book to black and white inkjet of some random fuck. These are truly the best prizes known to man.
And a coupon for 1 hour of free time right here at Game Parlor!
Or you could buy the games yourself! Cut to Randall going back home. He sees a note from his mother telling him to take down his computer, or else Stan will do it. So he's like, fuck that shit. And he goes to look up, I don't know, hentai or something. And he apparently received a mysterious email, but then...
Hey, get out of here! Quiet, worm!
What?
Think I enjoy being in your smelly dungeon?
Yeah, this is Stan. And the best part, this is the director. That's right, Stan is played by Ron Newcomb himself. And he is easily the best part of the movie. He just chews the scenery, and it's beautiful.
Remember when you were making out with your first girlfriend, and you came right as she touched your leg? It was me, Barry. I jerked you off at super speed so it'd seem like you nutted at just a woman's touch.
I'm your worst nightmare, Rand.
Alright, it's getting a little weird now.
I'm gonna be watching you.
So Stan then leaves, leaving Randall to check the mysterious email he got. And it turns out the bully planted the weed, poggers!
Grima Wormtongue.
Hey guys, remember Lord of the Rings? So Randall tells the rest of the gamers this new information and confronts the principal about it.
The proof is right here.
But believe it or not, the principal is a conspiracy theorist.
You ever hear of the Apollo moon landing? Kennedy assassination. Most brands of American cheese. Fakes. All fakes.
So he doesn't believe him. And then the Eye of Sauron play. I can't make this shit up.
Get out of here.
So Randall runs away from home and meets up with the rest of the nerd gang. And then Squirrely makes an inspirational speech about... take a wild guess.
Those 4 little hobbits, those 4 incredible hobbits.
doubt?
I mean, they were also fake, so they then sneak into their high school to steal a car while a mystery man is stalking them. And long story short, they get the car.
Our chariot!
Words fail me.
Oh, fuzzy dice. Yeah. Man, this is one pimped out ride.
What did you just say?
I said this is one.
Don't ever say that again.
Okay, that was a little funny, did laugh. And then they hide from the police, and then they get in the car and escape. Cut to in the car. The characters talk about Twinkies, and that's about it.
And Twinkies.
You know, I heard they last a really long time.
Subtlety! Cut to the next day. The rest of the crew goes to a gas station, while Randall stays in the car. This leads to another hysterical Lord of the Rings reference. In fact, actually, there are 3. One for when they walk in, one for when they get their drinks.
Why is mine's...
And one for the waitress, whose name is Rosie, who is a character from Lord of the Rings.
Thanks, Rosie.
All of a sudden, the bullies show up, and Randall's all like, I have evidence that you did the weed.
I've got evidence.
Even though that's incredibly incriminating. And this leads to another random Lord of the Rings reference, where Randall views himself as Frodo and the bullies as the ring wraiths. And the funniest part is that it's all serious. None of it is self-aware. I'm sorry, did Chris Chan write this? So then there's like a chase scene or something, and then the bully punches a truck, and the trucker's all like, you punched my truck, boy.
Did you just hit my truck? What's it to you?
So some rad, tough truckers come out and chase the bullies away because child abuse always works. Randall then has another Lord of the Rings dream about the cheerleader. And it's really dumb and stupid, and that's about it.
You'd give me your popularity.
And I will.
We all know how much you'd like to say TBH.
For real though. You're kind of cringy.
All of a sudden, their car breaks down, and their phones have 0 signal.
No signal.
Get Wi-Fi anywhere you go.
And furthermore, our heroes are lost and far away from civilization. They then see the mysterious man on the bike, which leads to another fucking Lord of the Rings reference. Look, I understand it's a Lord of the Rings tribute film, but this is like the fucking overkill. This film is so focused on Lord of the Rings that it has no actual identity of its own. So then they escape, and yeah, that's about it. And then literally out of nowhere, Randall starts simping for the e-girl.
What are you staring at?
Your titties.
Keep in mind, these two barely have any chemistry with each other, and won't have any more chemistry until like the very end. I hate to say it, but Fant 4-Stick did it slightly better. It may have been dog shit, but at least they spoke to each other. So the characters walk around for like 15 years.
You pissed yourself? I love piss.
So then they walk some more, which is probably a Lord of the Rings reference, which leads to another Lord of the Rings reference.
Haven't we been here before?
All the trees are starting to look familiar.
We're going in circles.
I have cream filling coming out of my...
Okay, moving on. So Squirrely climbs a tree and sees something on the horizon.
I see smoke.
They then travel over to it and see a colony of women.
Free love. Finally.
Hippies.
Yeah, now we have a colony of hippies in this movie. I guess we'll have to roll with it.
We come in
Have you heard of the High Elves?
The characters then meet Baba Melvin,
Greetings!
who is the CEO of the hippies, and the film's double reference to Aragorn and Tom Bombadil, the latter being a character from the books but not in the movie. But you wouldn't know this unless you read Lord of the Rings prior, which I guess wouldn't be a problem. This is a Lord of the Rings fan project, except that on the website for this movie, it says you don't have to be a Lord of the Rings fan to enjoy this movie. And yet, when you go out of your way to reference an obscure character from the books, on top of this film already being Lord of the Rings references porn, it tells me the only people that will enjoy this movie are Lord of the Rings fans. It's kind of like that movie The Wizard, that glorified Nintendo commercial, where if you take Nintendo out of it, you get a by-the-numbers 80s sports flick. Same thing with this movie. You take all the Lord of the Rings elements out of it, you get a bare-bones experience. What I'm trying to say is this movie sucks cave troll dick. So Melvin puts Ramona flowers in the kitchen.
I don't do kitchen.
Shut the fuck up, e-girl woman. The crew then does some yard work, and then Melvin reveals that he wrote some gaming code or something.
I wrote some of the very first gaming code.
Really? So you got Xbox?
Then, one morning, I woke up.
And I watched Fight Club. Now I play on PC. And then Ramona comes back in a different outfit, this time looking like Fiona from Shrek.
What are you staring at?
The iPhone.
Cut to a dinner scene. Some woman gets mad because she can't sit in a chair, and this leads to conflict.
Anyone can sit anywhere.
But these are guests, and the law of hospitality rises like the moon and sheds its light upon all.
And then there's a party scene that's yet another Lord of the Rings reference.
Why don't you ask her?
Cut to Randall and Baba Melvin having a man-on-man conversation. Randall tells Melvin about the jump drive, and that's about it.
Here, no, don't give it to me. What? Would you tempt me? Have me carry your burden? Gotcha.
Psych, that's the wrong number.
Must be something heavy on here.
How much Sonic porn do you have on here? So Randall shows Melvin what's on the drive, and Melvin reveals that he's a gamer.
There's this Lord of the Rings
online gaming competition.
How do you know about that?
Once a gamer, always a gamer.
The guy in the picture, that's Joe.
More like Joe Mama.
Joe Mama!
And then suddenly, it turns out that the picture was taken by the film Smeagol reference. I'm not even kidding, by the way. The picture of Joe Mama putting the weed in the kid's locker is taken by the walking Smeagol reference, who has been hiding in their trunk for like the whole movie. Cut to the characters in bed, where yet another Lord of the Rings reference happens. Randall then wakes up to his jump drive missing, and it turns out the woman who was mad at the seat during dinner is the one who took the jump drive. Whoa!
I lost something.
Perhaps. Or perhaps it left you. Perhaps it decided you didn't deserve it.
Man, I haven't seen drama this petty since when I did Sonic videos. Baba Melvin then intervenes, and for some reason he takes a neutral stance.
She stole my flash drive.
Well, maybe it came to me. Do you not teach, Baba Melvin, that all matter belongs to everyone?
Yes.
But I mean, you clearly know the importance of the jump drive, and this woman is clearly twisting your own words to fit her revenge agenda. And these kids are already on their way out to leave. But nah, we need the conflict here. We need the conflict. Cut to the paintball scene.
I bet they've never played Quake, or Halo, or Unreal Tournament.
So yeah, they have to play paintball to get the drive, which I guess is kind of funny at first, until you realize that this is all one big excuse to make more Lord of the Rings references.
All right, let's do this.
Bravo 6. Going dark.
And then Squirrely gets murked. And it's seen that... Wait, what? Yeah, now we just have a blatant reference to Boromir's death. In other words, hey guys, remember Lord of the Rings? Which could also be used to describe the entire movie. This can't be real.
Whatever happened to peace and love?
We still have a score to settle.
And then Smeagol pops out and the jump drive gets destroyed in the water, which leads to the last Lord of the Rings reference of this scene.
All right, let's get the last guy.
I am no guy.
Yeah, you effin' with some wet-ass P-words.
So then Ramona Flowers wins the game, and then cut back to their bedroom.
My dear, you are the talk of the commune. No shrinking flower of the weaker sex are you.
Wait a moment, what?
You are a towering tree of strength, extending your branches aloft for the little birds to alight upon.
Tell me, my dear, do you have Reddit? So long story short, Randall's all like, oh, we don't have the jump drive. And Melvin's all like,
we are often confused because the real truth is not the truth we want to see.
All of your favorite McDonald's breakfast items now available all day at participating McDonald's restaurants.
That what we see and what we do not see are not.
Are you prepared to ping the pong?
And then Smeagol comes in, and turns out he has the picture on his iPhone. So now it's convention time. And Melvin takes our heroes in his ballin' nay-nay whip.
Shadowfax.
Hey guys, remember Lord of the Rings?
What should we call ourselves?
How about the Fellows Hip? Oh yeah!
So now the Fellows Hip Rise of the Gamers is formed, which is indeed the title of the movie, except that also isn't. Cut to the convention center. The team is searching for the convention leader, but it turns out Joe the Bully is here, and the convention center is totally fine with him harassing a minor. Meanwhile, the mysterious biker unmasks himself, and it's Stan the whole time. Also, is that Joe Rogan? Jamie, pull that up real quick. So long story short, Joe chases the nerds, and then Stan comes out.
I'm gonna take you all in. You little mommy's calling.
And then the Mines of Moria come out of nowhere. What? And then the heroes are in the, I don't know, the tanker from Metal Gear Solid 2. And then Stan comes in and does this thing. And then some boxes fall on the nerds. And then Joe comes out, and then the Balrog shows up. Yeah, for absolutely no reason, there is a CGI shot of the Balrog. Yes, I do know what Lord of the Rings is. Now, please, get me out of your basement, Ron. So anyways, Joe's all like, stop having autistic Lord of the Rings fantasies. And then Ramona Flowers is all like,
Stop it!
Oh, the girlfriend protecting the girl man.
He's more man than you'll ever be.
Dr. Freeman. You just posted cringe. You have lost subscribers.
Yeah, a quick reminder, these two barely have any actual chemistry in the movie. And by that, I don't mean bad chemistry. No, I mean like zero actual chemistry. These two characters rarely have any one-on-one talks at all. The most you get is Randall ogling at Stacy for a little bit. These two never talk to each other. They never open up to each other. Hell, I barely know a single thing about Stacy other than she's grumpy and maybe a gamer. I guess what Ron Newcomb was trying to do was copy off of Scott Pilgrim, where one character is nerdy and awkward, and the other is emo and angsty. But once again, you didn't give these characters time to develop each other. Scott Pilgrim, in contrast, dedicates almost its entire plot to Scott and Ramona's relationship. Meanwhile, in the Fellowship Rise of the Gamers, it isn't until these two characters swap spits when they actually start having chemistry. I hate to say it, but Emo the Musical did it better too. Yeah, that movie kinda sucked, but at least the main characters talk to each other. In this movie, these two barely have any one-on-one time together. How do you fuck this up? Just have your romance characters talk to each other. Anyway, so everyone's taken away and taken to the office of the convention center. They then meet Marv, the head of the convention. Bob and Melvin then Deus Ex Machinas himself back into the story.
Marv, kept you waiting, huh?
Melvin Schnabel!
Yeah, so this guy conveniently knows who he is, and apparently Melvin is
one of the oldest gamers in the country.
Yeah. That.
Only now he prefers to go barefoot and hug trees.
Don't knock it. Trees are remarkably affectionate.
I would know. I just had sex with one. So they show Marv the real picture. And Marv's all like,
and I believe Melvin. Your team is disqualified.
Should have done this a long time ago.
But didn't you just meet him though? So Joe is escorted out, but Squirrely's glasses are broken. And for some reason, Melvin knows Randall's last name.
Did I mention that his last name is Dooley?
John Dooley's boy?
And Marv tells Randall the truth.
I knew your dad. Good gamer.
He was part of Gang Weed. So there's this whole sequence where Marv tells Randall how good of a gamer his dad was. I feel like I'm watching a parody, but this is like completely genuine. It's like the ending to Metal Gear Solid 4, but gaming.
He was a great competitor, a great man, and a true gamer.
Gaming.
And then, turns out, Stan's a gamer too, despite being vehemently against gaming in the rest of the movie. So this is all just one big Deus Ex Machina moment, and yes, I do go on TV tropes.
Defender of the free peoples of Middle-earth.
Okay, I take it back. This is what gets you pussy. So long story short, the gaming competition happens, and also the Joker's here.
I know why you're afraid to say the N-word.
And now the gamers are in the final stretch. And Randall has a dream sequence where the PC isn't even plugged in.
I can't do this.
Have you ever tried Mountain Dew Ice?
And then surprise, surprise, Randall wins the Lord of the Rings online competition. And then there's another Lord of the Rings reference.
Yo, Pierre, you wanna come out here?
Cut to Randall back at school. The cheerleader's all like, Randall, I wanna have sex with you now. But Randall's all like, bitch, I have an e-girl. And then everyone eats pizza, and then the movie ends. Welp, that was a pile of dog shit. It's really sad how this movie's main gimmick is its biggest downfall. This film is so concerned with jerking off Lord of the Rings fans that it has no real identity of its own. Look, I really respect Ron Newcomb for making a personal story and being able to put it out there. Despite what Phase 4 did to completely ruin this movie marketing-wise, I really don't think Ron set out to make a movie to cash in on Lord of the Rings. And really, I see good ideas in this movie, but they're all buried under a plethora of bullshit. You have a romance subplot that is non-existent until the very end, out-of-touch discussions of gaming, and Lord of the Rings references that border on unbearable. Once again, look at Scott Pilgrim. That film has video game references, but they're actually funny game references. Plus, they're not just references to one fucking franchise. Plus, the actual story stands on its own. But Rise of the Fellowship, on the other hand, or the Fellowship, Rise of the Gamers, is way too in love with Lord of the Rings. And yet, if I wanted to watch Lord of the Rings, I just watched Lord of the Rings. So in conclusion, this movie sucked. But Stan was pretty good, though.
Quiet, worm. You think I enjoy being in your smelly dungeon?
I don't want to talk. This is Stutter. I can't start my day. And if you choose the $30 subscription, you get...
Silence, wench. I do not wish to be horny anymore. I just want to be happy.